So you're gonna make what now?
We need an air cleaner for the basement shop.
We do need an air cleaner for the basement shop.
It's getting real dusty.
It's real dusty down there.
My lungs are hurting.
Sawdust is not good for you to breathe in.
Yep, and we've watched a lot of other YouTube videos on how to build these things, and they're super cool, but they're also like really heavy. They're built with these solid boxes of wood around fans.
Right.
And we wanted something that's going to be, works, actually cleans the air. It's got to be light because it's hanging from over our heads and I don't want that to fall down.
Me neither.
And then I don't want to spend a lot of money. The shop has gotten real dusty lately.
You can just see it. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a great example.
It's over everything, including the fan that we're going to use.
That's real bad.
So to start, we just went ahead and disassembled the box fan. This thing's real cheap. You can get them for $10 at Walmart, and they're really big, and they move a lot of air.
They do, and it disassembles really easily as well. And I think the electronics of it are very easy to break down and not electrocute yourself.
So we're going to use some air filters, some scrap furring strip, just some blocks of wood, and some EVA foam. So what is EVA?
I'm so glad you asked. EVA is ethylene vinyl acetate, also known as poly, the copolymer of ethylene and vinyl acetate. The weight percentage of vinyl acetate usually varies from 10 to 40%, with the remainder being ethylene.
So your kids were playing on chemicals.
It's probably fine.
Once we had all the supplies ready, we didn't know what it was going to look like, so it was time to take a minute and actually design this thing.
Right. Keeping in mind it needs to be as lightweight as possible.
Yeah, so really simple, it's just going to be a box, and we're going to have slots for the air filters and to put the fan housing and blades in the middle of. To get started, once we knew what it was going to look like, we just went ahead and cut up all the furring strips to their initial lengths. And the inside and the outside boxes needed to be a little bit smaller inner dimension, and so we mitered those edges and then just checked for square and glued them together. And then remounted the fan motor assembly onto a couple more pieces of furring strips just to give them some structure and something to glue and screw onto. And we secured the power cord with just some hot glue.
Throughout this whole project, it was easy. I mean, it really was an easy thing to do.
We wanted to use hot glue because, again, we wanted to be light. Everything was going to be light and cheap, and these work exactly well for what we need to do here. Mm-hmm. From here, we use the filters as spacers to know exactly where we were going to be putting the different furring strips or the slats onto to create the frame.
Yeah, it was a good way to space it out.
We originally tried building each of these frames as boxes and then gluing them together, and we found out that was horrible. So
it didn't work.
Using these as slats was a whole lot better, and taking our time and piecing it together as it went along.
Right, yes. So I would do it this way, not the way we tried to do it. It saves time.
With the frame assembled, we could start to test fit the fan assembly and make sure that it wasn't going to bump into anything or start cutting up stuff when the blades started turning.
Yes, a critical step.
And with that checked well, we could go ahead and mount that to a couple of furring strips that was all going to get bolted together. Couple more pieces screwed in, it was easy to just kind of shore up that frame, and we finally had a rigid box, something that we could start to skin. And to remount the electronics, I went ahead and just cut off this plate from the original box fan frame.
Yeah, so don't throw away that part when you disassemble your fan.
It was a lot easier just pulling that off of the frame rather than having to make something different, especially for mounting the power switch. You'll see is going to come in real handy right here.
Right.
And we could start to skin it, and to use that, this is where the EVA foam comes in, because it's really light, but it's also thick, so we know that it was going to create a good airtight channel for the fan to flow through.
Well, and so many of you parents probably have a couple, at least 4 or 5 of these at home anyway.
And attaching them was really easy. It was just hot glue again.
Yep. So how exactly did you wire this back up?
With a lot of effort, but I really just needed to reattach everything as it was when it was all part of a box fan that came from Walmart. And then just kept everything out of the way of the fan blades with more hot glue. With that being the hard part out of the way, now it was just time to skin all 4 sides of it with more foam. And here we went ahead and cut up the sides. And I was feeling so good, but really need a crosscut sled. And here's why.
I can tell you were getting frustrated in that last one.
It was very annoying.
Yeah. But it all worked out.
The sides, instead of hot glue, I used drywall screws, and that's so that we could actually get into the fan to change out the filters when we wanted to. I didn't do any sort of quick release clamps here. I thought, hey, screws are cheap, they're easy, and you're not going to be changing filters all that often. Then to hang it, we went ahead and just took another cross piece and put some eye hooks onto it and made sure that was screwed. And this thing was light.
Yeah, you lifted it with ease. I tried to be cool like you and lift it from the side. Nope. But I could easily lift it center mass. No problem.
Met exactly what we wanted to do. So now it was just to hang it here in a frame, and we put it over top of all of the sanders and the really most dusty part tools in the shop.
Yeah, the equipment that creates all of the sawdust.
This build was great because we actually accomplished everything that we wanted to.
Right, and it was cheap.
Yeah, and light, and it cleans the air.
It really does.
So I think total build costs, we're talking only about $35 in total materials.
Right.
When you compare that to the big brand name air cleaners that move less air and they cost anywhere from $200 to $500, and this is a must. Take the weekend, do this, save your lungs.
Right, and like we said before, the fan and the filters were the only thing we had to run out and buy. The scrap lumber, the hooks. When you got 3 kids in a house and you're married, you have junk drawers. So we went through junk drawers and found everything else we needed.
Hey, if you like this, give the video a like, subscribe, and check back for more later on.
Thanks, bye.